Hello everybody. This is Claudio and this will be my first time-lapse video with commentary. I wouldn't call it a tutorial because I'm not stopping and explaining a lot of details about the tools and what exactly I'm doing there in terms of technique and minutia. I'm just going to explain overall in general terms what I'm doing. A tutorial can be hours long and they're usually real time or maybe twice the speed. This is 12 times its original speed. So that's why you will see this going so fast. It's not real time. And I changed my mind a couple of times while I was sketching this, and I edited that out because I didn't think it added to it. I mean, I might leave some of the discarded sketching in other videos, future videos, but not for this one. So what I'm doing now is basically just doing the basic sketch, black ink over a white background, meaning all the white is transparent. Just the black is a solid color. And I think this took me about 20 minutes to sketch. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to do a sort of Neil Adams type of horror cover. If you look at Neil Adams drawings, they always have a forced perspective, wide angle, almost from the floor point of view, meaning the camera is laying on the floor looking up. That makes everything look grandiose and also get silhouetted against the sky or whatever the background is. So right now I'm just setting up basic sketch composition, where the ground is, where the main character is, and setting it up, getting it ready for color, which I will apply later. But for now, I'm just doodling up. This is it's very organic. I decide on the run, right on the spot, what works, what doesn't. I erase a lot, like you just saw. I started to draw a house and I didn't like it, so I started over. I just erased it, you know. So I think this is basically the drawing that is going to be the final piece. All the elements are there. The Skinwalker in the foreground. It has is on the run. Is running away from some ranchers that are chasing him, and this is going to be a night scene. What I'm doing now, you see the gray starting to show up. That's a layer underneath the black ink. It's a solid color that I will lay up later on at the final color. See, that's what just happened. So I added blue for the sky, and then I started tweaking the vegetation and the foreground to get the contrast that I want, the gamma, which we designers call it, the gamma of the image, which is the color palette. And right now I'm adding skies. I have a little custom made cloud brush that I created. I don't remember if I created this one or I just got it from some tutorial, but I thought it was pretty cool, pretty organic, and it gives some pretty interesting shapes for clouds, which I usually tweak up until the end of the process. I mean, I don't use anything as they come. Anything I use in Photoshop, I tweak it 100 times before the job is done. So right now I'm drawing little ranchers, doodling them. They're not gonna be the final figures. Probably I'm gonna keep tweaking them. So it's good enough for now. As you see, they're almost done, and the two figures in the back are very doodled. Oh, Phenomenon. Well, this requires a little bit of explanation. This was a poster for a convention in Utah, one of my favorite conventions. It's a paranormal convention in Vernal, Utah, which we attended last week. So I did this for them. they turned into a T-shirt, which came out pretty well. So I usually incorporate the titles and the lettering in the process, so I can see where everything's going to be, and I adapt the composition to it. Meaning I don't have to crop it later and move things around just because I didn't think of the titles. The titles, if you're gonna add titles and you know what the titles are gonna be, it's better if you're incorporate them early in the process so you can shape the composition to match the lettering. So now what I'm doing now is adding some highlights. This is a sunset. No, it's a twilight scene, meaning it's just after sunset. And you may be asking yourself, what's that purple has to do with anything? Is there a UFO in the sky? No, the purple, it's kind of the one of the branding colors of Phenomicon. So Bridget, the organizer, asked me if I could incorporate some purple in the, which I welcome, because it makes for a good color palette. It makes for a striking image. And this is not intended to be National Geographic or Discovery Channels by any means. So when you're doing fantasy or horror, you can take a little license and not be realistic at all. Right now, what I'm doing is drawing fur. Yeah, doing a canine fur into this werewolf, or skinwalker, as they call it, as some call it. Skinwalkers are basically werewolves. Some say it's a wolf that turned into a person, and some others say is a person, a shaman from certain American tribes, North American tribes, that turn into a wolf, or a wolf-like creature, wolf-like a humanoid. So there's, I would say there are several versions, several variations of the myth. But right now I'm trying to do a werewolf. I mean, I focused on a werewolf. And for that, I mean, there's a lot of precedents in horror movies for werewolves. Obviously, one of the most famous ones is The Howling, which introduced the back legs of a dog in the humanoid figure. If you look at the werewolves in all movies like Lon Chaney movies and Hammer movies, it's just a guy, an actor with a mask, right? But then in the 1970s or early 80s, there was a movie that came out called The Howling, and they incorporated certain canine features like the back legs. They're not human legs; they're dog legs or wolf legs. So I use that format for this character, which because I thought it was a lot more striking. I mean, you cannot achieve this with an actor. No, I guess you can. They use prosthetic legs, but anyways, I thought it was a lot more physical, interesting visually. So right now, what I'm doing now is drawing the second light source, because in this image you have two light sources. You have the twilight, which comes from the sun being below the horizon and lighting up the sky in a very interesting way, in which the sky is brighter close to the horizon and darker as you look up. But there's also another source of light, which in horror movies will be achieved with spotlights and softboxes and artificial professional lighting. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just creating cinematic cinematic light, which will give this a more dramatic look. And right now I'm drawing paws, for which I use some references. I remember I was looking, well, mind you folks, while I'm doing this, I have a notebook right beside my my big screen where I'm actually drawing, with reference photos. I try to get as much reference as possible, and I keep that on a laptop right by my side while I draw. So I copy or get inspired from it, and I was looking at wolf heads and wolf paws and hands, and I sometimes when I need to draw hands in a dramatic way, I take pictures of my own hands and I use that as reference. And so it's basically like you're doing like a Frankenstein. You took bits and pieces from different photos and you incorporate it into your drawing. Some people trace. I trace every now and then when I'm drawing something I've never drawn before, or something that requires precise technical drawing, like a car or a piece of machinery that I'm not familiar with. I might trace, because I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys that take pride uh, of not tracing, but I think that it's bullshit. It doesn't matter. I mean, the only thing that matters is the end result and what you achieve. I copy as opposed to trace, because there's a certain organic element that you achieve by just drawing from your own imagination that gives it that I would say cartoonish caricature aspect, which I always I always try to achieve in my drawings. I don't want them to look like a photo, you know. So there's a drawing, a certain unrealistic effect, quality in the drawing that I always try to incorporate, and that can only be achieved by just drawing. There's no way around it. So right now, what I'm doing is doing the fill light, the soft light that comes slightly from the upper left corner of the drawing. It's a soft light that could be the sky or could be a distant source of light. And then you have the highlights on the right side, which come from the lower, the bottom right corner, which is the twilight lighting. So right now I'm refining the hand, and adding some highlights and some hyper realism, if you want to call it that. Which for that I need to zoom in a lot, at least 200%, to get a little bit more detail. So doing this time lapse it's very time consuming. I have to grab bits and pieces of what I recorded, which is not the entire drawing. It's just a portion of the drawing, and then overlap it to the complete image, which I take snapshots of during the process, just to have the entire drawing to show you guys. But right now, what I'm doing, you can actually see there's a little square right in the middle that doesn't match the rest of the image. You can see there's a little variation in the contrast, and that's the zoom of the portion I'm working on right now. So as I was saying, when I got this commission, they asked me for a Skinwalker or a werewolf, and most werewolf movies, they have a certain design, like Underworld, and the Underworld werewolves are very similar to the werewolves in The Howling. They have a big dog head with big ears, like pointy ears. And if you look at dogs, only just a handful of breeds have pointy ears, like German Shepherds and such. And once I started looking at pictures of wolves being aggressive, showing their teeth and growling, and doing the snarl, I noticed that the ears are not up anymore. They are pointed back. They lower their heads below their body line, and their ears are pulled back. So that's the first thing I noticed. Said, wow, I wonder why they never did that on a werewolf movie. So I based the head on a wolf, if I'm not mistaken, an Alaskan wolf, a wolf from Alaska. And I used a photo as reference of a wolf, barking or snarling at somebody. And the ears are very pulled back. So I incorporated that into this drawing. And also I noticed that in some of those movies, the werewolves are all black or all brown. So I decided to do something different, go in a different direction, and use white and black, like some of the wolves, some of the wolf breeds that have a lot of white around their snouts, around their heads, their ears. They have gray, white, and black. So I incorporated all that as you see me doing right now. So yeah, there you go. The ears are pulled back; they're not up, pointy, and some horror fans might not like that because like I said, there's a certain standard in the horror lore of doing werewolves in a certain way, but I wanted my werewolf or my skinwalker, if you will, to be unique. Um, if you see now, I'm adding highlights, very bright white highlights to the front of the snout, and now I'm adding glowing yellow eyes because you cannot have a horror scene without glowing yellow eyes. Those creep me out, and I bet they creep out a lot of you guys. Uh, I love glowing yellow eyes. So you see, now I'm adding the white fur to make it look more like an actual wolf. So far at this point, I'm only working on the wolf, on the werewolf, and cabin in the back is still it's sketched out, it's doodle, it's not a final product. And ranchers too. um, One thing I noticed about the ranchers when I finished the drawing is I made them all left-handed. I don't know why I did that. I only noticed it after I finished, but it doesn't really matter. Or some people may notice, and I might come up with a funny explanation for it, but I really don't have any other that I didn't think about that. I just did what I thought it was cool for the drawing. So right now I'm adding the finishing touches to the head. I would say the wolf is done at this point, pretty much. The paws are done, the hands are done, and it only requires a little bit of a grading and refining, like I'm doing now, making it a little bit darker and bringing forward the highlights. And um, and I'm guessing next I'm gonna start working in the cabin and the ranchers. Oh, and the trees in the back. They're it's a flat color for now. They're not trees yet. Oh, lots of blood. Yes. I was concerned about them censoring this and not wanting the blood and just ask me to remove the blood because there are lots of young, small children at the convention. They might get scared by that, but they didn't. They liked it as it is. Right now, I'm working on the vegetation, the trees, the foliage, adding some light and shadows. It is all very, impressionistic. There's not a lot of detail, and I also have a brush for foliage, which give me very good, quick results. I just have to pick the colors, shadows, highlights, and then it's done. See, I think it took me about 10 minutes to do those to do those streets. The overall to do those trees. Sorry, the overall time. I think this illustration took me about 6 or 7 hours. It's a pretty quick one. Right now, I'm refining the cabin, changing my mind a dozen times. I erased some of the poles at the front, adding some roofing. This cabin was drawn. I was copying a cabin that I had on my laptop open the whole time, but I only used it as reference. Most of what you're seeing that I'm drawing now is completely imagination. I knew I wanted a certain type of cabin, and I was going for it. I didn't find a photo reference of what I wanted exactly, so I had to uh, make it up as I drew. So right now I'm doing windows and doors with a warm glowing coming from inside. That always worked. It worked for Disney for 80 years and still works. The contrast of the cold elements outside and then the warm coming from inside the cabin, which could be a bulb, a light bulb, or a fireplace. But it's that contrast in uh, color temperature always makes for compelling scenery. Right now, I'm working on the ground. Again, very impressionistic. I'm not doing any details whatsoever. I'm just doodling around rocks and dust and grass and just sketching very fast. Oh, a little bit of a fence in the background. Oh, adjusting toes. There you go. Grabbing toe by toe and change the size. I do that a lot in my drawings. I keep like 3 or 4 layers in total. I don't keep many layers anymore. I used to do that, but it would drive me nuts at the end of the process having 50 or 80 layers. See, I have a. There you go. That's the wolf paw I'm using as reference. You can see it there. Just getting inspired by it. So as I was saying, I used to 20 years ago do a million layers because I was insecure and I wanted to save everything in case I changed my mind down the process. So I would have the flexibility to change whatever. Nowadays I don't do that. I just keep 2 or 3 layers and that's it. The cabin, and the ranchers are on all one layer. That's it. And the trees are another layer, and then the sky is 2 layers. Color in the background and the clouds are another layer. So in total, maybe 5, 6 layers. Now, right now, I'm perfecting the ranchers, the silhouettes. As you see, like I said before, I don't know why I made them all left-handed, which is kind of ridiculous, but whatever. It's fantasy. I would say the illustration is pretty much done at this point. It requires some more details at the front and the foreground, and the ground. Right now, drawing some ranchers, which are in high pursuit of this strange creature that may have obviously killed one of their calves or sheeps or whatever it is, feed on it. Uh, so every now and then you would see my brush window pop up, which I'm switching brushes depending on what I'm doing. For fur, I have a certain brush. Then for precise shapes like the ranchers, I have another brush. For the ground, I have a certain brush. For the foliage, I have a certain brush. Sky, clouds, which clouds at this point are still sketched out. I don't think I've worked too much on them. I might work a little bit later on. Some blood droplets. Doing some blood. Trail of blood. What am I doing now? Oh, I'm doing a fence. What is a farm without a fence, right? Now I'm working on the sky. See? Refining some of the shapes in the clouds to make it, more interesting and more, I guess, less doodled. There you go, clouds, drawing clouds. Well, I think my work here is done. I hope you enjoyed this time-lapse video with commentary by me. And in about a second, you're going to see the final illustration, the completed illustration. There you go. Here it is. Skinwalker on the run. Well, I hope to see you again next time on my next video, which I will post on social media. And please subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye now.